Hello, this is Howard, Teaserking. Let's go to, well, I'll do the college first. Week 12 of 2014 college football. Very successful lock of the year last week was my pros. The college lock, again, I was shocked that Auburn just, lost at Texas A&M. The game almost looks fixed at the end when they kept fumbling. Hard to believe that Auburn would not win that game. They score a lot, but their defense against the pass is terrible. Well, let's go right to Auburn, Georgia, then we can talk about that for this week. Georgia's laying 2.5 against Auburn. Georgia doesn't pass the ball. Georgia gets run on by Florida. Georgia's a pretty good running team, but this matchup goes to Auburn. Their weakness, as I just said, was the pass. Georgia really doesn't pass that well. And Georgia can be run on like Florida did, so Auburn will run up and down the field on them. This should be pretty high scoring, as neither team can really play defense. I like Auburn in the 8.5. I just think that they're a very live dog. They're a very good team. Defensively, they're weak, especially against the pass, but they are good against the run. Gurley should be back, but he's kind of going to be out of shape. I don't know. He'll do damage. He's a great running back, but Auburn's also very strong running team. Put up a lot of points. I just feel they're a good dog in this game. You get 8.5 points. Let's go to North Carolina, laying 2 to Pitt. This should be another high-scoring game. I like Pitt in this game, getting 8. Again, I like the dog. They got a great running back. I don't remember his name. I watched him against Duke, and the guy couldn't be stopped. North Carolina's a weak defensive team, fairly good offense. They've been playing a lot of high-scoring games. Again, I like the points. Pitt in the 8. It's pretty even trend. I think you got pretty evenly matched team here, and I just think Pitt's running back will be the difference. I think this game should be close. Take the points. Ohio State laying 14 to Minnesota. I got really confused by Ohio State. I apologize for that. Ohio State goes and barely can complete a pass on Penn State in the second half. They have a 17-0 lead, and that's it. So obviously they have trouble with good defenses. Now, how they put up what they did on Michigan State last week is, I don't know who was quarterbacking, because I hadn't seen that from the kid against a good defense, which I assume Michigan State had, but I don't know if they really do have a good defense this year. How will Ohio State play after that? Well, I think they'll play well. I think that they are smelling they got their revenge, but now they want to win the conference and they want to get into the playoff. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think that I don't know how really strong Michigan State is, so I don't know how good the quality of win is. And then I'm wondering, they still lost to Virginia Tech, who I have Duke beaten this week. So I don't know. This will be a tough game after the Michigan State game. Ohio State's actually a weak road favorite. You got to remember, they were a dog last week in a revenge game, and here they're the big favorite again. Minnesota's pretty strong at home. They're a fairly good team. TCU pounded them, and Ohio State runs a similar offense. I don't know. I don't like Ohio State at this number. If you can get them under 7, I would like them. I'm afraid to take Minnesota in the 20. I don't think Ohio State will be flat. I think the kid got confidence, Barrett, so I think the number is too high. So if you can get it 12.5, if you can get it under 7, I would take Ohio State. I don't see them losing this game. I don't think Minnesota's defense is good enough to do it, but I do think Minnesota will be competitive in the game. So at this point, I would think Ohio State wins it by about a touchdown, maybe 10. You could take Minnesota in 19, but I'm just scared of Ohio State's. I don't know which offense is showing up anymore. These teams are all over the place with these freshman quarterbacks. It's just really difficult. So again, the play would be Ohio State under 7 or Minnesota over 21, depending on where the line moves. Western Michigan laying 21 over Eastern. I had a friend actually go to the Eastern practice, and the coach is all like, "We're going to keep the game close, and this is the team we always play tough." Good luck, coach. Western Michigan laying 27, laying down to 21. Eastern could be the worst team in college football. You get blown out every week. Western is very explosive, and they won at Idaho. They've won some other good games. They did lose to Virginia Tech, but they kept that pretty close. Western's at home. I don't normally play these MAC games, but this one looks pretty obvious. I think Western laid the 21 to Eastern, just because Eastern's terrible. Wisconsin laying 6.5 to Nebraska. Very tough game to call because Abdullah hurt his knee. Is he healthy? Is he ready to go? Will he play the whole game? Wisconsin used to be a great home favorite, not this year. They had trouble with South Florida, who's terrible. I like Nebraska and the 12.5 as long as Abdullah plays. If he doesn't play, we can't take him, so we got to kind of watch and we'll see what happens. This is big revenge when Wisconsin beat them in the championship game, put up a 70 on them with Russell Wilson to get to the Rose Bowl. So this is huge revenge for Nebraska. This is for the, the West, Big Ten West title, basically, and a chance in the playoff, although both these teams should not be in the playoff. They're not that good. But I would take the points, Nebraska and 12.5 to keep this game close. Again, Abdullah's got to be playing. Rutgers laying 7 to Indiana. I like Rutgers laying 1. Basically, Indiana's terrible and their quarterback's out. Rutgers, Nova's good. They're at home. All they got to do is win by 1. I don't see Indiana winning this game. Take Rutgers, lay the 1. All right, let's talk Duke, Virginia Tech. Duke. My spread was laying 7. The spread started at 5, is down to 4. God knows why. I don't see any major injuries for Duke. Virginia Tech's got a lot of people hurt, a lot of linemen. The trend is all over Duke here. I'm thinking about locking this game. Haven't made my lock decision yet. Definitely like Duke. All they do is cover and win. They beat Virginia Tech last year. I don't see them losing this game, and they're only laying 4. Spread's too low. You get Duke +2 at home against a very weak Virginia Tech team. How they beat Ohio State's a mystery. Maybe they just got a bunch of injuries after that. I honestly don't know, but Duke's a very strong team, offense, defense, very under spread because popular. They're not. Take Duke +2, very strong. Air Force laying 2.5 to Nevada. Take the dog, Nevada +8.5. Very even game. They're both really good running teams. Nevada can throw the ball. Good quarterback. Air Force has been playing better this year, but the trend's Nevada, and they're a very live dog here. South Florida laying 10.5 to SMU. Like South Florida because bet against SMU. Even Tulsa covered against them last week. I was proud of that bet. But here it's basically you're betting against SMU like you do every week. That shows you how bad Tulsa is. SMU actually put up 28 points on them. Lost by 10. We were laying 8. But here, South Florida, all you got to do is win by 4.5 against SMU. I don't care how bad South Florida is. SMU is 10 times worse. And this bet's purely betting against SMU because the number's so cheap. I mean, there's no way they're going to win the game. BYU, UNLV, this spread's really jumped. I think it's way too high, but it's jumped from 23 to 26. I got BYU laying 10 because of all their injuries. Excuse me, I think the spread's too high. BYU's quarterback's out, Hill. I mean, They'll probably win because UNLV is so bad, but I just think this spread's too high. I would stay away from the game. BYU might blow them out. UNLV is a terrible road dog, and you want to play against them as much as you can. He'll be in there. If the normal BYU team was out here, that's what the spread should be, is 26. But here you got a different quarterback and everything else. I'm not touching it. Utah State, my team, laying 19 in New Mexico. Take Utah State. Lay the 13 all day, all night. Utah State wins big. That's all they do is win and cover. Them, Colorado State are just money. Utah State, I watched them with their 4th-string quarterback last. Their first 3-string quarterbacks are out. They got a 4th-stringer. He's a freshman. He's very good. It doesn't matter. They run the ball down your throat, and they play great defense. So really, as long as the quarterback can hand off, throw a few passes, and get out of the way, it doesn't matter. Utah State just covers and covers and covers. Take Utah State there. LSU, Arkansas. I have LSU laying 7 in the game. Real spread. Arkansas laying 1.5. Why is Arkansas favored over LSU? LSU beat Ole Miss, beat Alabama because of the bad call that they didn't reverse. It was a reception late in the game. LSU's up 3, and they run up to the line to spike the ball, so they don't look at the replay. The receiver clearly dropped the ball. So basically, LSU just beat Alabama and Ole Miss. Why are they dogs to Arkansas? I don't get it. I don't care the game's at home or on the road. This is a rivalry game, and Arkansas is favored. And believe me, LSU knows of the dog. I love LSU plus 7.5 in this game. Arkansas hasn't won in the SEC. The best bet was against Alabama, where they screwed up my lock there, going off of Alabama off of a loss against a weak Arkansas team. Arkansas is a little better this year, but LSU went to Florida and won. Like I said, they played Alabama and Ole Miss. They beat Ole Miss. They basically beat Alabama, so why are they going to lose to Arkansas? Just study it. Take LSU and the points. Georgia Auburn, we already talked about. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Florida State, Miami. Florida State should be a 7-point favorite. They're only a 2-point favorite. Take Florida State plus the 4. Florida State wins this game. They've been there. They've done it. Miami is still young. I don't see the defense holding up for Miami. This isn't, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's there. We're betting Miami. Getting 2.5 at home. We're driving to Vegas for that one, but I don't think Jimmy Johnson's the coach anymore. I wish he was. I wish he'd go back to coaching. He's the best coach. He should be coaching, not sitting there in the studio. That's one of the problems I have also with college and pro football is the coaching's so bad. I mean, most of these teams, the coaches are terrible. You don't have any clue, especially in the pros. I can't name 5 coaches' names except for Harbaugh and the guy at Seattle, who I can't even name him. I can picture him, the guy from USC, but why can't I name him? This is crazy. God, I can't name the Seattle coach. That's so frustrating. But I mean, most of these coaches, I don't even know. Half the teams are like, who's the coach? I mean, Arizona's got a great coach. I don't even know his name, but he wins. In Philadelphia, I know from college, Chip Kelly, and I'll be back in the pro video with the Seattle coach. God, this is frustrating. But anyway, my point is just the coaches aren't that strong. Anyway, Florida State, you get 3.5 from Florida State. They're not going to lose this game. This is for everything. And Miami's not that strong. They got a new quarterback. He's okay, but Florida State came back against Louisville. They beat Clemson. They will not lose to Miami. They do not. They know how to win, and at the end of the day, the game could be close. Even if Miami gets up on them, Florida State will find a way to win, and you're getting 3.5. It's the point spread. Had this spread been 10, I'd say take Miami. You're only laying 2.5. You take Florida State. All the point spread. Next game, Navy laying 3 to Georgia Southern. Howard, what are you talking about Georgia Southern for? Because they make us money. That's why. Georgia Southern played Georgia Tech, an option team exactly like Navy, and lost by 4, 38-34 at Georgia Tech. So they've seen this defense before. Georgia Southern is a running team just like Navy. Normally you take the dog in this game when both teams are very similar, and that's what we're doing here. Take Georgia Southern plus the 9 against Navy, just because Georgia Southern's a very good team and they're a very good running team. So this should be a very, class of the Titans. Basically, I'm just taking the dog here. I like Georgia Southern in the 9. Marshall laying 21 to Rice. It's a little big number. I'm looking at Rice. They're not that bad. They've won a lot of games this year. I think the spread's a bit high with Marshall here. Marshall's been putting up 50, 60 a game, but not. They're playing Florida Atlantic and Florida International, and not Florida State and they're Florida. I just think Rice is a pretty good team, and will give them a game. I think 21's too big of a spread. I think if the spread was maybe 10 or 11, I could get it under 7. I would play Marshall. This spread's a little bit high. I don't know. I don't want to play against Marshall here, but I think the spread 15.5. You could get burnt. Be careful with this one. A&M laying 4 to Missouri. The Trends, Missouri is a road dog. A&M, I don't know what team's going to show up. The team that couldn't handle Louisiana Monroe, the team gets blown out by Alabama, or the team that beats Auburn. I mean, you figure it out. Here's what happens. You have this new quarterback, so nobody knows what he does. So it's hard to defend him in the beginning. Now you got game film on him. And once you got game film on him, you go, oh, he scrambles. Oh, he goes to his right. Oh, he stays in the pocket. And then oh, the kid throws short. The kid throws long. So once you got film on him, you defeat him. And I think Missouri getting the 10 is a good road dog. I mean, A&M was terrible. All of a sudden they're favored. I don't buy that at all. Missouri, I mean, they're not as strong as last year, but I don't see A&M being a favorite. Take Missouri in the 10. All right, game of the day. Alabama -4 over Mississippi State. Oh wait, the spread's 10. Huh. My spread's 4. Mississippi State, lest we forget, has beaten LSU at LSU, which nobody can do. They beat Auburn by 15 points, which nobody can do. And they basically have run to the table. And all of a sudden, it's a field goal game with Alabama, and the spread's laying 10. I smell somebody's locking Alabama because they all love Alabama because they're Alabama. But don't like their quarterback. Their defense can be thrown on, and Dak Prescott has seen LSU's defense, which is as strong as Alabama's. If you want to believe it or not, Patrick Peterson, Honey Badger, all those guys that came from there, believe me, they're all in the NFL. They got NFL talent at LSU. For Mississippi State to roll LSU like they did, they're not going to have that much of a problem with Alabama. I don't care where the game's played. This spread is way too high. This is a 3-point spread. It's a double teaser because you got plus 10 because the spread's screwed up, and now you jack it to 16. I'm very close to locking this game. I don't like to lock against like Alabama, but this reminds me of last year when I played Auburn against Alabama, because Alabama was laying 11 to Auburn, and Auburn I didn't think would win, but I knew they weren't going to lose by 17. They had enough offense. They were going to keep the game close. I'm sorry. This is way out of line, this spread. And I know Alabama beaten them badly the last 2 years, but this is a different Mississippi State team. This is the undefeated, #1 ranked. Well, the rankings to me are all bullshit anyway. I don't pay any attention to that. Mississippi State beat LSU at LSU, beat Auburn at home. This is a road game. Take Mississippi State in 16, 15, 15.5, whatever you can get. You got more than 2 touchdowns with this team. If they won the game, I wouldn't be surprised. The only shock I would be is if Alabama wins 28-0. I will be shocked, stunned, and I don't buy it. Now, Dak Prescott, Mississippi State's quarterback, was injured a couple of weeks ago. He's had a bye with it. He played against Arkansas kind of banged up. Then they had the bye, and then last week they played, Brother Rice High School. So we'll see what happens. But this is the game, and I don't care what anything about anything. This spread is way, way, way too high. 10 point, no way. When it first came out at 7.5, 8, I was thinking maybe Alabama -1. That was my first thought. But now at 10, take Mississippi State in 16 all day long. Isn't this? No, that's just way too many points. We're in 2 touchdowns here. All right, last game. Michigan State laying 11 to Maryland. The trend is huge. Michigan State, they're a great road team. And Stephon Diggs, the Maryland best wide receiver, is out, suspended. The question is, which Michigan State team shows up? How good is Michigan State's defense? Their offense is excellent. They'll average 45 points a game. They put up 39 on Ohio State. They'll put up 50 on Maryland. The question is, are they going to be pissed off because they lost, or are they going to wake up and go, you know what, we just blew the chance for the playoffs? Because had they beaten Ohio State, and they should have, if they don't get the holding penalty, they're up 21-14, they go in for a touchdown, and they get a holding penalty. Like, what an idiot. And he grabbed him, like, what are you doing? This guy couldn't stop Langford if he wanted to, this little Apple guy. He's terrible. He gets burned every minute. He's the worst cornerback I've ever seen in my life. And and they hold him. It's like, what are you holding the guy for? Just block him, push him. Don't hold him. Don't pull the jersey. Freaking idiot. The guy's scoring anyway. So what should have been a 28-14 lead, and State goes on to win. Then they end up missing a field goal, and it changes all the momentum. So how will they recover after now they can't make the playoffs? And that's their goal, was the playoffs. Yours truly had bet them to win the championship at 22-1 in the beginning of the year, which they absolutely had Oregon beaten, had Ohio State beaten. They don't know how to finish. My only logic to this Michigan State team last week, when I think about it, and I think what happened, they have never been a home favorite in a big game. They've never been the favorite in a big game. They were a dog against Ohio State for the Big Ten title. They were a dog in the Rose Bowl. They can handle that. Their personality, we're the dog, screw you, we're going to prove you wrong. They were favored last week. They have not been favored, again, in a big game. They've been favored against the Marylands and the Michigans, and they beat them. But in this game, against Ohio State, or had they been favored in the Rose Bowl, they would have lost. You've got to learn how to win, and how to win as the favorite, and they don't know how yet in the big game. They can only be a dog in the big game. And you've got to understand personalities. With every team that plays every sport, they have personalities. Some teams do not know how to be a favorite in a big game. Some teams like it. Some teams don't know how to be a dog. Some teams like it. That's what I do, that I figure out the personality of the team. In this situation, I think they'll be pissed because I know D'Antonio is a great coach. And I think they'll be pissed. Now, Maryland, can they get to the weakness of Michigan State, which apparently they can't get a pass rush, and apparently they have no secondary. I didn't realize how weak their secondary was until I'm watching the Ohio State game. Even in the Oregon game, they got bit on a few plays where the safety covered the wrong man, and they hit some long passes. But basically, that was it. I mean, for Ohio State, where was the blitzes last week? Where was the pressure on this guy? He's a freshman. I had to blitz the whole kitchen sink. My guys couldn't cover anyway. If my cornerback can't tackle and can't cover, then I'm not giving this guy all sorts of time. I might as well blitz because my guy can't cover anyway. So I don't know. Michigan State normally is a good blitzing team. I was shocked where the blitzes were. He hasn't been blitzing because his secondary is obviously very weak this year. So this is the ponder in this game. I think Michigan State scores a lot of points. I think that Maryland can exploit Michigan State with their passing at home. Maryland's a pretty good scoring team. And again, I would have thought Michigan State would have shut them down, but I saw against Purdue, and I saw, last week. Now, Nebraska they held because Nebraska's a running team, and they really couldn't exploit them with the pass. But in this game, I just Maryland can throw at all, they're going to stay competitive. I think Michigan State wins. I think the 11 is. I have the game State laying 14. At that point, I would have probably taken Maryland in 20. Spread's down to 11. I think Michigan State laying 5 is the play here. Under a touchdown. I don't see Michigan State losing this game. I'm hoping they come out pissed off that they lost after a loss. After the Oregon loss, they played Eastern. They put up 75 points. Again, that was Eastern, and that's the problem with college football. You got the worst team, so you can't get a barometer on it. I wish they had played Notre Dame after losing Oregon. Then you could have saw, how they really play after a loss. I think, due to the coach, that Michigan State plays pissed, and I think you can lay the 5 here. It will be a good play. The trend is Michigan State, great road favorite. Maryland is nothing as a home dog. I don't know. I see Michigan State. I'm not heavy here, but I see Michigan State laying the 5. Anyway, those are the games. There's a couple of locks I might play, but I haven't. This is a hard week to lock. I haven't really loved the team that I want to lock. I mean, I love Mississippi State in 16, but I don't like a lock against Alabama, as I've said before. I don't think Alabama rolls them. It's such a high, the spread's way out of whack. So, and I love when people say, "Well, Vegas knows what they're doing," and I'm like, bullshit. Vegas doesn't know what they're doing. How many games are upsets and that, and they're laying. Look at Auburn last week. They're laying, what was it, 22 points, and they lose the game. Oh yeah, Vegas had that one figured perfectly. I mean, it's a joke when people say that. But anyway, not sure if I'm locking that game, but I could. Florida State, I don't want to lock at Miami. LSU I could lock against Arkansas, and Duke I could lock against Virginia Tech, but I haven't really made up my mind. I gotta feel it, so I might not lock it till late tonight or tomorrow, or I just might stick with the pro locks. There's one I really love in the pros. All right, everybody. Well, good luck. Have a nice, happy weekend. Definitely should be a good college and pro. I have a lot of good picks this week, like every week, and it's the same system. And I'm trying to be more careful in college. I'm not going to play as many teams and multiple teasers as I've been doing in college, where Auburn or Michigan State have been hurting me in 2-3 teasers. I'm not going to. It's not working, so I'm not going to do it in college. I'll do it in the pros, because in the pros I'm very, very high percentage right now. But in college, I'll put, last week I have Auburn in 2 teasers, Michigan State in 2 teasers, and they lose the game. I mean, I don't lock Auburn, Kansas State, and both teams lost. That's never happened to me in 30 years. I mean, it was unbelievable. Here's Auburn going to blow out A&M, and then Kansas State getting 12.5 from anybody is a good play, and they both lose, and I'm like, that's impossible. So it was a weird week last week, like I said, but the lock of the year bails everybody out. But I don't see putting the confidence in college, putting them in 2-3 teasers right now. I just, maybe Mississippi State I'll have in a few, but basically it's going to be more like one team a teaser. All right, everybody, have a great week. Again, www.teaserking.com. Good luck, and please, questions, comments, I'm here to help. All right, have a great weekend.